Founder Culture, the podcast for founders and startup leaders who understand that building a business may be hard, but building a team, now that's where things get tricky. I'm Romaine, Wright, founder of Just Wright Consulting LLC and creator of Thrive or Derive. In every episode, I take one real team issue, break down the behaviors driving it, and provide strategies on how to fix it. Welcome to the show. So I am so excited today to have one of my great friends in the building with me, Maja Taylor. Maja is a career ownership coach, and she works primarily with executives, helping them make the transition from being an employee to being an entrepreneur. So Maja, so excited to have you. Welcome to the show.
Oh, I'm super excited. Thank you for having me. I'm super
Yes.
thrilled. We've been talking about this for a while. I'm glad the day is finally here. It's so good to talk to you here.
Yeah, the day is here. And I brought you on because I recorded an episode earlier in the season on urgency addiction and kind of talking about the transition of mindset from being an employee in the corporate world to being an entrepreneur, specifically around your schedule and how you can take on that habit or continue that habit of feeling the need to always be busy to feel productive. And you and I talked about that.
Yes, we did.
Yes, we did.
At length.
We did, right? As we both transitioned from being employees in the corporate world to being entrepreneurs. So let's start there. Given what you do now and even your experience in the corporate world, give me some understanding of what it's like to shift your mindset from being an entrepreneur or being an employee to being an entrepreneur.
That's a really great question. So for anyone who's worked in corporate for a while, you know that oftentimes they ask you, act and think like an entrepreneur, own your project, own your work, act like it's your own company. So that sounds great, but is that really the truth of how people in corporate America work? Because you don't really fully own it. You are working for someone else. You are building someone else's dream, plan, equity, wealth, right? So a lot of clients that I come across that maybe have played with the idea of entrepreneurship or thought about, I wonder what it would be like if I was my own boss. They're kind of scared of making that transition. There isn't somebody there who, has goals set for you or has a project outline. You have to come up with that yourself. And that's a scary transition. So owning your own time, owning your own schedule in your week is a challenge for some people, even experienced executives, because there is that greater framework that they're used in operating under. So part of the education that I take my clients through is really digging deeper on that. And honestly, it takes some time to shed that corporate skin. Hey, I'm guilty too, right? I'm still shedding that corporate skin. Has it given a lot of skills? I'm willing to bet that most people that I work with don't really fully realize how many skills they already have that transition well into entrepreneurship. So we'll explore that at length too. But it is a different way of working. You with that responsibility though also comes freedom. So I kind of dig into what are you worried about? What's a little bit the fear that's underlying here to make that transition? And what is it that you're excited about? Because that's why really people want to do that and make that transition, right?
Yeah, you've touched on so many different things. My mind is racing. One thing I want to call out is the idea that even executives, although the image is that they can do what they want and they have their own time, from what you've said, even they have some structure around how they manage their time and their schedules within a corporation. So that's interesting to me. One of the other things you said I want to dig into a little more is the skills that people have that they don't even realize they have from being in the corporate setting that they can transition or use and translate into entrepreneurship. So talk a little bit about that.
So I use some coaching tools to help them really realize Let's pause and take a step back, because especially in a crazy C-suite life, work life,
Mhm.
people don't take the time to, you know, think and review of where they've been, and does what they're doing right now still work for them in their
Mhm.
career.
Mhm.
So the first question is always, which is a full stop for some people, what do you need from your career to live the life that you really want to live?
Mhm.
Oftentimes people don't take that space. So it's first providing that space. And then I use assessments, right? We use TTI Success Insights as the company we use for an executive disc assessment to help people reflect. Okay,
Mhm.
here's how I prefer to work. Here's how I prefer to communicate. Here are some of the things that motivate me. I use a career questionnaire that helps them kind of look at, here are my existing skill sets. Here are some areas that I still want to grow in, because either I haven't had time, or I haven't gotten a chance to, or something went on in their personal life, and we dig deeper on that. And then kind of really clearly defining, what is it they want to say a year from now, 2 years from now, maybe
Mhm.
even longer term. So I spend a minimum of 2 conversations, lengthy conversation in depth, on what is the vision that you want to see. And
Mhm.
and I've noticed that with some of my clients, those are really tough questions to answer, because I get a lot of, well, I don't even know. Well, that's exactly why I'm talking to you. It's like, okay, well, let's
Right.
do these assessments,
Right.
and then we'll debrief, and I will ask you some challenging questions. My role is to pull you out of that comfort box where you think this is the way you're going to go, because you've been doing this for the last 10 years or more. I don't know.
Mm.
But really challenging the way you think right now, and then helping them understand how their current leadership style, how their problem solving skills, how their team building skills, how they develop others, all really filters in and fits nicely with what an entrepreneur or business owner needs to do.
Mm. Wow. So look, if you've been listening, you should have written some of those questions down. You can start working on them now. Especially if you're already in your entrepreneur space and, haven't thought about those things. So that's awesome. That foundation is so essential. It actually parallels my work in a lot of ways, because sometimes when folks come to me, they're not even ready to talk about a people strategy because they haven't laid that foundation. So if they hire people, it's like, what do I teach them? What do
Yeah.
I even tell them about my business? So I'm excited to know that as you are helping people make that transition, you're allowing them the space to build that foundation first before they've even decided, yes, I'm definitely going to do this.
Mm.
I want to shift gears a little bit, and so I started out with urgency addiction. As you are in your work, what are some other habits that you see people struggle with commonly as they make that transition, or even as they're talking to you and maybe decide not to become entrepreneurs, but just the mess in their mind that you've got to filter through? So let's just keep it simple though. What are maybe some of those habits that you see commonly coming over from that employee corporate world into entrepreneurship?
You're talking about the head trash.
The head trash. That's a good way to call it, or a good thing to call it. Yes, all of that junk.
Yeah. So before I answer that question, I want to pause. So for any executive leader or senior leader listening to the podcast, you really do yourself a favor and go on Romaine's episodes. There are so many nuggets in there, whether you have entrepreneurial aspirations or not, whether you are leading a big team already or you're trying to get there. Her conversations really
Uh-huh.
make you think and reflect of, okay, am I doing that thing? And gives you some good strategies to tackle some of the things that maybe your career is stuck on, right? So I highly recommend listen to our episodes. Give a 5-star rating
I didn't
because
pay her to say it.
no, but
No.
like just listening to you talk and having
Mm.
you on, and some of the episodes that you already aired, I repeat because you hear different things the second time
Mm-hmm.
around, right? Really helped me. So, yeah, back to your question. What is the number one showstopper for people?
Yeah.
Fear. So,
Mm.
fear of failure is often the biggest one. You hear a lot of talk about imposter syndrome. I don't really like that term.
Mhm.
Um, but being grounded in knowing who you are and who your skill set is, how you show up as a leader,
Mhm.
whether that's in corporate America or in your own business. That's what the tools, the coaching tools that I use really help people understand and just own that. I think that's where you need to start. You can't go where you want to go if you don't know where you are, right? You have to know where
Yeah,
you're starting.
that's right.
So that's what the assessments are really good for. Fear of failure is a big one. And then we dig deeper into that. Well, why? There's like the 5 why question. Anybody who's been in corporate America, 5 why
Mhm.
questions are familiar.
Yeah.
So we kind of drill down on that. Um, Fear of I can't make the transition. I don't have what it takes. I don't know anything about entrepreneurship. And that's where the learning journey comes in, right? We have a lot of tools and resources that I'm happy to offer to give you a better understanding. You don't have to go at it alone.
Mhm.
There is a pretty big community out there that will help you get started, transition, once you're in it, to grow, even scale bigger. It's a lot of information, so we have kind of like a curated journey that helps you on that path so you can find the right things for you at the right time. I think the other big failure is, well, I can't leave. I have a
Mhm.
family. I need benefits. I
Mhm.
want a steady paycheck. Well, how many people do I talk to on a daily basis that either just learned that their services are no longer needed? So there goes that stable paycheck.
Yeah.
Or, um, I mean, right now the market is there's a lot of uncertainty, there's a lot of volatility, and also a little bit of pain in how the job search currently works, right? There are some things that are broken and we have to adjust. So even if somebody decides in our conversation that entrepreneurship is not for them, I'm happy to provide tools and resources if you want to stay in the W-2 employment arena, right? How do you change your job search now because the market has shifted?
Yeah.
So I would say those are probably the 2 big ones. The not being able to afford it, right? It's an investment in you.
Yeah.
How can you not afford to invest in yourself? Do you want to continue to build somebody else's dream wealth equity, or do you really want to build your own? What is the legacy that you think you want to leave behind for your kids, for your
Mhm.
family, right? Or if it's not for your kids, your family, for the world.
Yeah. That's, mm. Yeah. I mean, you're saying so much is so rich, and I know that we could talk for hours because we
Hours.
have.
Yes.
But I'm going to, and I think you've covered this, but I'm going to ask you the question anyway because I want to get your final thoughts around it. So if a person is in the employee status, right?
Yep.
Whether it's in corporate America or wherever they may be an
Yeah.
employee, and they're an aspiring entrepreneur interested in entrepreneurship, what can they start doing now to get their mind in a place where that transition can be easier for them?
Call me.
Yes, her information is in the show notes. So go ahead.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I will meet you wherever you are, right?
Hmm.
And we'll decide. We'll figure out together what your next best step is. That's my passion. I help
Hmm.
people figure out what's the next best step, whatever that may be. I would say um, there are some really great organizations who help you start thinking in an entrepreneurial way. So there's the Small Business Administration. Even with the shutdown, the resources are still available,
Hmm.
right? Funding is a little bit delayed right now, but the Small Business Development Center, that's usually the larger colleges all have an office of the SBDC in
Hmm.
there. Lots of resources, lots of tools. Another organization is SCORE, of
Hmm.
course. So they're all kind of funded by the SBA, but SCORE focuses in more on mentorship. If
Hmm.
you already have an idea and you want to start your own company, that's probably a much better match for those people.
Hmm.
If you don't know yet, there's lots of education something as simple as, how to learn to use QuickBooks, or what's going to be my social media plan? How do I market my services or my business? It just attending some of those either in-person meetings or Zoom sessions will really help you start wrapping your head around all the things that you need to consider. And
Hmm.
it's a lot, so don't be overwhelmed. Take it one baby step at a time. And a coach can really help you with that, just kind of breaking it down into manageable chunks so you can be successful.
Absolutely. And that very last bit is so helpful and people overlook it. I had a coach, you had a
Yep.
coach, right? And even though we are coaches ourselves,
Yep.
even coaches need coaches,
That's
right?
right.
So you don't have to do it alone. And super valuable insight. So thank you so much, Maya, for your thoughts and information. Again, so rich and just chock full of nuggets of wisdom that hopefully anyone who's interested in entrepreneurship or already a seasoned entrepreneur and thought, that's something I still don't know. How do I get that done? So, listeners, you heard it. Reach out to Maya if you need some help really making that transition from the employee mindset into entrepreneurship. Again, her information is in the show notes, all the ways that you can reach out to connect with her. And until next time, build trust and results will follow.